After this series, Seattle will return home to meet the Phillies. From the NBA, the Cavs have extended Jared Allen 3 years and $91 million. Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad's coming up next. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio, will join the show at 4:20, and Aaron Fentress from the Oregonian at 5:20.
The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad, presented by Lazy Boy. What is your strategy for comfort?
Nothing's happening with the Denver Broncos. Their quarterback decision, completely irrelevant. No one cares. And it's got Bo Nix and Zach Wilson in it. There's a quarterback situation in the National Football League that is up in the air. We don't know who the starter is in Denver. There's a first-round pick involved. There's a guy who we have trashed over the last 5 seasons, and it's a team that's moving away from Russell Wilson for his tenure there because Sean Payton's now the head coach, and I don't think anybody outside of the Mile High City cares one iota who the Denver Broncos quarterback is.
I agree with you.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad starts now.
Hey, Godfather, you ever notice how our producer, Michael Shacker, likes to play audio bits only to get under my skin?
Yeah, I have noticed that. He's pretty good at it, too.
He is. He's gifted in that area of life. Anything that he can find where someone is speaking ill will towards the Broncos, he's all about that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I couldn't care less. All that matters right now for the Broncos is that, one, they end this silly competition and name Bo Nix the starter.
Yeah.
And then play him from day one up in Seattle when they meet the Seahawks week 1. And then find out if he's the guy or not. It's that simple. You don't jack around now in the NFL. If you have a guy that you drafted first round at quarterback, play the guy and find out if he's going to be your franchise quarterback. And the more data you get that tells you one way or the other, at least you know. And if he's not the guy, no sweat. You move on and go out and draft another guy.
Yeah.
It's very simple. I'm not worried about wins or losses. It's actually kind of a relaxing year for the first time in a while where I can just sit back and watch the games and watch Bo Nix and his development. And that's why I don't want to start the year out with Jared Allen at quarterback. I don't give a rip about Jared Allen. I don't care about, no, it's not Jared Allen. What's his name? Who is the quarterback's name? Do you know his name? I can't believe we don't remember his name. This is how important he is as a quarterback. Not Bo Nix, but who's the guy that's going to back him up or the guy who could start? Yeah, Jared Stidham, Jared Allen. I just said
That's
Jared
a wrong
Allen.
Sport.
I just said Jared Allen in the update because he got the new deal from the Cavs. 3 years and $91 million. How do you think that feels to get a $91 million extension and know that you're set financially for the rest of your life and you're not even in your 30s? Like, that's just mind-boggling to me. And I like Jared Allen. That guy's cool. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Great throw, great game, and a cool guy. And now he's got $91 million guaranteed.
See, my brain can't even handle the idea of $91 million.
It's a lot of money.
I mean, that's just impossible to spend that much.
Who was I listening to? I came across a YouTube video yesterday, and they were talking about the national debt. $35 trillion.
Yeah.
$35 trillion. I don't even know what that is.
I think they said every 100 days it goes up another trillion.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, every 6 months, the administration's adding another trillion to the national debt.
Yeah, my credit card problems don't mean much compared to that, I can tell you.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Godfather. There are bigger issues in the world to worry about, but those are numbers where it's like my brain cannot comprehend. Even the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire, they're not even in the same stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
You can have hundreds of millions of dollars and not even be able to sniff Elon Musk, who I think is the richest man in the world right now. That's just mind-boggling.
Is he number one now?
And I think he's number one.
Oh, boy.
So there you go. Big money. So props to Jared Allen. But, yeah, all that matters for the Broncos this year is whether or not Bo Nix is going to be the quarterback that we'll be able to sit back and watch. Michael Shacker is a 49er fan. A little different scenario for him. There's only one acceptable outcome as a 49er fan, winning the Super Bowl. And if it doesn't happen, it's a major disappointment. And then you've got to find out whether or not Brock Purdy we know can play. The question is he the type of guy you want to commit 60 to 65 million bucks a year for? I don't know how you answer that question. Brian, no, we'll ask him that coming up at 4:20. So B no, and then Aaron Fincher's at 5:20. And really, I only want to ask him one question.
Yeah.
Why are you breaking news in Sacramento? You're from Portland. You cover the Trailblazers. You're friends with many media members in the Portland area, and yet you choose Sacramento to break news. What the flip's going on there?
Yeah,
What's up with that? Sacramento.
Why didn't he give me a call? We would have had him on here to break news.
No one cares about Sacramento.
No.
I've been through Sacramento. It's not a very good spot. I can't believe the capital of California is in Sacramento. Like, the whole thing just doesn't make sense to me.
So you're saying that Sacramento is exactly like the quarterback situation in Denver.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about it.
Nobody cares. And I understand why no one cares about the Broncos quarterback situation, because they're not going to be a relevant team this year unless Bo Nix is unbelievable like C.J. Stroud. And while we and a lot of people in this area are big fans of Bo Nix because of what he did at Oregon, I just don't think it has the national spotlight. There's too many other big stories in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers being one. How's he going to play with the Jets coming off the Achilles injury? And the Jets being a disaster. Can Aaron healthy be able to right the ship there? I think that's a big story. The Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback on the planet, going for a three-peat. That's a big story. Jim Harbaugh, anytime he opens his mouth, is a big story. He's now paired up with Justin Herbert. How's Harbaugh going to do? Will he be able to get it all together in year number one? And Justin Herbert, I think the big question for most of the people on him is, all right, no more excuses. You've had a string of pathetic coaches in your football career.
College into the pros.
Yes, bad coaches. Let's go through the list one more time. He started out with Mark Helfrich, great guy, probably not a very good coach. Then he went to Willie Taggart, the fraud. Then he went to Mario Cristobal, great recruiter, dumb head coach. Then he jumps to the NFL. He gets Anthony Lynn, who decided Tyrod Taylor should start over Herbert to kick off his rookie season. That's dumb.
Really?
Like, when you do that right out of the gate, I'm like, okay, you're a dumb.
Yeah.
Then we go to Brandon Staley. That's a bad string. So now he's got the coach, and the question is, we want to see it, right? What's he won? That's the big question on Herbert. If you talk to people outside of Oregon, what's he ever done?
Yeah.
I know he was in the playoffs and blew a big lead against Jacksonville. Well, so what? Can he do it? And those are the questions that come when you're a big-time quarterback making big-time money. So those are big stories. Joe Burrow coming back healthy, I think, a big story. There's just too many other big stories in the NFL. Anything Dallas is big because they're the Cowboys. So Jarrett opening his pie hole, not wanting to talk or make comparisons because he always gets in trouble. That's what he said. Here's exactly what he said, actually. This is Jarrett on Dak. Shacker, turn up my computer.
Dak is a better quarterback than Jordan Love?
Well, Dak for us is I get in trouble every time I make comparisons. Okay, I do get in trouble. And of course, we saw a head-to-head match with Green Bay last year. We've all got that burr in our saddle. I'm anxious for Dak to get a chance to show he's the best with the Cowboy star on it.
And you think he can do that without a new deal?
Oh, yes.
What
Yes, yes. But don't. That might imply that we're not going to do a new deal, and that's just not the case. Those things change. It can happen.
I want to see the press conference after he has to pay Dak $65 million.
Yeah.
That'd be a good press conference. And Jared trying to explain himself out of that one.
There are so many reasons I love Jared, but one of them is he keeps alive so many of the old sayings. I haven't heard anybody say he's got a burr in his saddle. I've got a burr in my saddle. I haven't heard that expression in 20 years.
It chaps my hide. There are a lot of sayings like that back in Oklahoma. That's why I can relate to Jared so much, because he speaks like a lot of my family members do.
Sounds like an Okie is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. He talks, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
You're like Uncle Truman. Okay, I see where we're going here. I've got a lot of people, if you were to go back, like if you took a trip with me, and you would never do this, but if you went back with me to Tulsa and Ponca City and Manford, and we had a chance to visit family members, you'd be like, oh, that's how they do it in Oklahoma. Just a different style. All right, before we move on to other things, I mentioned yesterday that I had a horrific experience on the golf course with 43 putts. Very simply put, that is awful putting. It's atrocious. It's a disaster, and it cannot happen again. 6 2-putts and a 4-putt, and the rest is history. You also had a very unfortunate experience at the golf course last night after work. What happened?
Well, first of all, Chad, playing golf after work is not a good idea. Let me just say that. And especially on a Tuesday at my course, because you can't get on the driving range. That's the night they pick up all the balls so that they can mow that grass on Wednesday morning. So,
do they hand pick it?
They run the machines over, but then they have to hand pick it after that because it never gets all the balls. So you have to hand pick it. They get a bunch of the assistant pros. And
Monday morning is when my course's range gets hand picked, which means no proper warm up before the round.
I hate that.
That sucks.
So I've been playing well, and I was meeting my friend Bob out there, and he
what's up, Bob?
Yeah, Bob's a really good guy. He puts up with me on the golf course. So right from the start, I played bad. And, it wasn't really a physical thing. Yeah, I get tired here doing this stuff because there's a lot of prep that we do and all that. It's a long day. But the mental stuff is what makes it hard, Chad. I think, for me anyway. I don't think I focus or concentrate as well on the golf after I've worked all day. I'm not sure I can do it anymore. But to make a long story short, I played poorly, and then I got to the 5th hole. There's a fairway bunker out there. I decided I could get out of that bunker, and I did. But unfortunately for me, I just hit it up on the lip of the bunker in the tall grass there. But I couldn't get to that without keeping my feet in the sand of the bunker.
Oh, yeah.
And then trying to hit it. Now, all I was trying to do is just give it a little tap, get it 15 or 20 yards out on the fairway.
Little tap, tap-a-roo.
A little shorty there. And so I swung at it and lost my balance and unable to keep my balance. I fell very hard in the trap and banged my elbow.
Down goes Frazier.
Exactly.
How can you do that and not have video of you taking a spill in the sand bunker?
Well, the guy I was playing with was more concerned about my health than he was taking a video. It's like, yeah, are you okay? Are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm okay. But I was on the hill, too, and I had a little trouble getting up. He had to give me a hand to help me up out of that trap. But I decided enough of the 5th hole, and I'll just sit out the 6th hole because you know what the 6th hole's like out there.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah, brutal. So then I just picked up 7th and 8th and 9th. And actually, I parred the 8th hole for some unknown reason because I was playing terrible all day. I was back to the stuff I did before I got my lesson. And that's just not focusing or concentrating on what I'm doing.
How's your arm doing with the hematoma or whatever you got going on there? Is it better?
Yeah.
I'm surprised your wife didn't make you go to the doctor for that crap.
I actually went to the doctor this morning because it's a long-standing appointment I have for a long time. And I just iced it down last night. It's going to be fine. It's not a broken bone or anything. But it hurts.
I love the Godfather going down in the bunker. We've all been there. Oh. I root for guys when I see them awkward stance with water behind them. I'm like, come on, man, just do it once. I want to see it happen. But there's certain things I hate. I do not like playing golf without a warm-up. I think it's insane because we don't play sports. No one does a sport without warming up properly ahead of time.
Yep.
So hand-picking the range is dumb. I hate evening golf. I'm with you. I play in the morning when my dome is fresh. I'm not going to go out on the course and expect to play well after a full day of work and dealing with humans. And then also, I don't like morning sex. I hate morning sex, and I don't like afternoon golf. It's weird with the lights on and the sun out. I don't need that in my life. I like morning golf, and I like evening sex, and I don't like vice versa. That's how I roll, Godfather. You got that?
I got it. I'm not going to comment on it because my views might be different, but I learned my lesson probably on playing after work. I don't mind playing at night. It's really peaceful out there at about 6 o'clock. I don't mind that at all, but not on a work day.
All right, Shaka Khan. I'm down with this, Shaka. Nice work. We'll come back, and when we do, we got a Bo Nix update. And then the NFL is going to jump into the 21st century. We'll explain how. Rip City Radio wants to send you on an unforgettable trip to Victoria, BC on the Black Ball Ferry Line. Check out the contest page at ripcityradio.com today for complete details and your chances to win. The package includes a one-night stay for two at the Chateau Victoria Hotel and Suites, round-trip fare on the Black Ball Ferry Line, a pair of tickets for the Bouchard Gardens, a pair of tickets to the Skywalk, and a pair of tickets on the double-decker hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour.
The Rip City Drive presents the Bo Nix Update.
I watched all the quarterbacks just hoping that one day I could be one.
Nix goes under center. Nix in trouble.
Here on 620 Rip City Radio.
All right, Godfather, one of my favorite former Broncos is also a media star, an analyst on Fox's NFL coverage, and he does a terrific job of a morning show in Denver on 104.3 The Fan, Mark Schlereth, who's got multiple championships, 2 with Denver, 1 with the Hogs and the Washington Redskins. You know, you and I were talking about the 2 quarterbacks, and I'm not putting Zach Wilson in that category because I don't think he's legitimately being considered for the starting job, but Jared Stidham and Bo Nix are in a competition right now. And you and I were talking about how what's happened in camp so far from the people I've talked to, some of the guys I'm connected with in Denver who have been at every practice, is that Jared Stidham is he's got a better understanding of the offense because he's been there. He's got NFL experience, and he was with the Broncos last year and head coach Sean Payton. So the terminology, the understanding of the playbook, he's just farther ahead in that department than Bo Nix. But, of course, Bo Nix is smart and is getting up to speed with constant work and study habits, which are really good. Well, what the guys who have seen him at practice have noticed is that Stidham is moving the chains and playing it safe. He's not taking chances downfield.
Right.
He's taking what the defense is giving him and not afraid to dump it off or to check it down or whatever the case may be. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Bo Nix, on the other hand, and I wouldn't have expected this, he's been the guy to take a few more shots downfield, looking for the big play, to attack and try to make the big plays when it's there. And as a result, he's made a couple of mistakes. He's been picked a couple of times, but you know, it's an effort to try and make something happen. So I was listening to Schlereth yesterday, and what he was saying was, he was asked, what do you want from your quarterback? Do you want him to seek the big play, or do you want him to make the right play? And what Schlereth said is that I want my quarterback to make the right play most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want my quarterback to look for opportunities to take shots downfield when he believes the opportunity is there. Meaning, don't always just check it down.
Yeah.
If you think there's a play there, don't be afraid to let it rip,
Right.
because it could turn the outcome of a game, right? And guys will understand that he's going to make the right play most of the time. But sometimes, because he's got confidence and he's got that bravado, that ability, and the arm strength and the accuracy, he's going to take a shot. And that's what Schlereth wanted. So it wasn't like, always make the right play, always be safe, always take what the defense gives you. Make the right play most of the time, but don't be afraid to let it rip when you think that opportunity is there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. I believe the same way. That's how you win games. I mean, I don't think that check down quarterback is going to win you a lot of games. It's a long time getting down the field if you're going to do it 5-6 yards at a time. But the teams that win in that league can get the ball deep once in a while. I admire him for doing this in training camp, because that's how he's learning lessons on when to throw and when not to throw.
Here's the interesting part about where this quarterback competition is at right now. Everyone who's at practice with the Broncos every day, they have said that it's clear that it's between Stidham and Bo Nix. That Zach Wilson, while occasionally with his arm strength and athleticism will put on display the wow play, the problem is the ball's not coming out of his hand on time. He's not standing in the pocket or climbing the pocket. He's relying on his athleticism and his natural instincts to try and make the big play. So he's not quarterbacking in the way that Sean Payton would want him to. So it's clear to everyone watching that it's between 2 guys. And there's been a bit of a shift up in how many reps are being given at practice. But the weird part is Sean Payton is not coming out yet and saying it's a 2-man race. He's putting on the facade of it's still a competition between 3 guys in Zach Wilson, Jared Stidham, and Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what Sean Payton gains by continuing to play this game of a 3-quarterback competition when it's pretty clear to everyone watching that really it's down to 2 guys. And I really don't believe it's down to 2 guys. I think it's about 1 guy, but I don't think he wants to put Bo Nix in a position where he's handed something that he didn't earn, because that would be a disservice to him when it comes to the relationships with his offensive linemen, his teammates, and everything else. But why do coaches do that? Why put on the facade? What's up with that?
It's pretty common, Chad. We're seeing it in a lot of different places. even in Pittsburgh, where apparently Russell Wilson was probably guaranteed a starting spot.
Yeah.
All you heard from the coach there was, well, yeah, Russell's got the pole position.
Yeah.
He's ahead right now, but
he's like Verstappen. He's gonna get the start where he wants, and then we'll see how things
but why
play
not
out
just
with
say,
the race.
No, we brought Russ in for a reason, and that's to be our starting quarterback.
Now, what's up with the BS? I don't understand. Why can't a coach just come out for once and just be like, look, we drafted Bo Nix in the first round. Obviously, he's getting great consideration. Stidham's got experience. He knows the offense, and I like him. That's why I gave him $5 million a year to come and be the backup.
It's got to be well paid for that.
And Zach Wilson, we just took a flyer on. See what he's all about. It didn't cost us anything. But no, they got to put on the facade. It's a 3-team or a 3-horse race, and we're going to let these guys play it out and see how things happen on the field. And forget that nonsense.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb. I think they should come out right now and just say Bo Nix is going to be the starter, and we're behind him. We believe in him. And let the teammates know right now, like, this is what's going on. He's the guy. That's what I would do. But NFL coaches like to deal in, it's not really lying. It's different. It's football coach lying. It's a different brand of lying. That's what they do. They never want to tell you what they think. They never want to pull back the curtain. They always got to put on this whole facade of information and hiding this and hiding that, like somehow that matters.
Yeah.
And so Sean Payton's not the only one. The majority of football coaches operate like that.
Yeah.
The only guy that I've ever known as a football coach that wasn't a weirdo like that was Mike Riley. He would tell you exactly what he was thinking, which was odd for a coach.
Yeah.
Everyone else, though, it's like, oh, we can't talk about the injuries. I don't know about that guy. We're always encouraging competition, and so we'll see how things shake out. I think what's happening right now is that Zach Wilson will eventually be pulled back, and the majority of the reps are going to go to Nix and Stidham. And then with the preseason games coming up, you're going to find out real quick where they're at and how each guy performs. I think Stidham is still in the race to start game 1 up in Seattle. But the weird part is that we all know that at some point throughout the season, Bo Nix is going to start.
It's his job. Yeah.
Then why not give it to him from the start?
Yeah.
Well, what's up with that?
I don't. All I can think of is he wants to make sure
he's ready,
that he doesn't embarrass himself. Who do they play in the exhibition season? Who do they play?
I think their first game is against Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What kind of pressure he's going to face in those games?
Not much, because teams in the preseason, they're not going to roll out their exotic blitzes. They're going to go vanilla because they don't want to. Well, because they don't want to give away secrets.
Well, and oftentimes, too, it won't be their main roster of players.
All right, let's take a look here. The Broncos preseason schedule, Godfather. First game is going to be up against Indianapolis. That's Sunday, August 11th, so a week from Sunday. Then they will host the Packers on August 18th, and they finish out against the Cardinals at home on August 25th. So there you go. Colts, Packers, and Cardinals. And my guess is, I would play Nix in all 3 games, but maybe he'll play in 2, and then what they might do is you play the 2 guys, Stidham and Nix, get the majority of reps in the first 2 games, and that 3rd game after you've announced the starter, because by the time the 3rd game's there, you're probably going to announce the starter. Then you pull the 2 guys back, Nix and Stidham, and then let Zach Wilson go out there and play. Because he's probably not going to be on the team. If they're going to keep Stidham, I would trade Stidham and keep Wilson just because you get more in return for Stidham. But more than likely, Wilson will be let go, and they're not going to carry 3 quarterbacks on the roster. A few teams do that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Bo played first game, second game. Then they've named him number 1. He sits out game 3, which they do a lot of times. Game 3 is often the game that a lot of the starters don't play because they don't want anybody hurt.
And you want to get all of the other youngsters out there.
Yeah.
You're doing them a favor, one, so they can showcase for other teams.
Exactly.
But also you want to get a look. There might be someone, and there have been guys who do this, someone that's right on the bubble of making the roster.
Yeah.
He showcases something again where you're like, we got to keep that guy.
Right. You can play your way onto the team in that game.
Okay. And elsewhere in the NFL, technology. They're going to use the Hawkeye system, Godfather. What's going on with the NFL and the Hawkeye system?
Yeah, the Hawkeye is what tennis uses. It's a Sony product, which I didn't know until I read about it today, but they're going to use
Thank you,
that.
Sony.
Yeah, they're going to use that on first downs. They are going to use the chain and the 2 sticks for a backup which you got to have a backup when you're just experimenting with a new system. You
Yeah.
know, oh, geez, it went offline. Sorry, guys. We think the ball was right here. But
Then you can roll out the old guys with the old chain and have them line it up.
yeah.
Isn't it
running out.
amazing that the NFL uses sticks and a chain to figure out first downs?
No, it's always
That's
been
mind-boggling. So how's
crazy.
that Hawkeye system going to work? Will they be able to know? The Hawkeye system's not going to help the ref be able to place the ball properly, right?
No, unfortunately not.
Well, that's the biggest problem. Those idiots run in. It's like, well, what are you doing spotting the ball there?
Yeah.
Wait, are you blind?
Yeah, I know. I think in the beginning it'll just be for first downs. If they're smart, eventually it would be for spotting the ball too, which is more important than the first downs. Hardly ever anymore do they ask for a measurement. Even they just look at it and say, okay, first down. Or
But couldn't some dude up in the booth, like, get in the air of one of those boners on the field and be like, hey, bro, spotted at the 31.5? Like, couldn't you do that based on the Hawkeye?
yeah, you could. The Hawkeye, they say, is accurate within less than an inch, which is close enough. It's closer than what their eyeballs are telling them.
I bet Angel Hernandez is looking for a retirement gig. He's going to apply to be
Perfect.
one of the chain gang in the NFL
Yeah.
and try to spot the ball. I don't understand what those buffoons are doing when they run up and spot the ball, though. So if you can't fix that, that's a problem. So how will the Hawkeye, how does it work then? If you're not going to be able to help the officials spot the ball, will they know when they cross the line to gain? Is that really what it's for? Like a 4th down and 1, they'll know whether or not you cross the line?
That supposedly the referee will have a connection. They'll look at it in the press box, and within a matter of seconds, they'll just say first down, 4th down, whatever it is, and they'll know immediately. It'll save some time. They won't have to run those chains out there.
But wouldn't that help with spotting the ball, though?
You of course think so, yes. Because now, if you watch what they do, their mechanics, the side judge or the line judge, whatever side it's on, he spots it with his foot.
I know.
And then they throw the ball in, and the guy looks at his foot and puts it down theoretically where
From
the
like
guy,
30 to 40 yards away.
exactly. He's like 30 yards away, and you're approximating where his foot is. That's not good enough.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
This is crazy. They decide games with that kind of foolishness. That's what decides games. How many times have we said, well, we got a punt, it's 4th down, we missed it by an inch? Who knows? Maybe it didn't.
Yeah. And what kills me with these NFL teams, you can't line up and get an inch. You can't line up and push forward to get an inch. How is that even possible? You got enough 300-pounders up there. Get an inch, you morons.
How many times did we see last year? There's more and more teams going for it on 4th down. We saw it fail quite a few times.
Well, I just think it's important, especially now that gambling is being embraced by, well, all the sports leagues.
Yeah.
You need to be as exact as you possibly can when it comes to, well, I don't know, critical matters of down and distance. Being able to know whether a team got a first down or not. Because if you don't pick up the first down because of a bad spot and you're in 4th and inches and then you get stopped, that can change the outcome of a game.
Yeah, and see, if I'm officiating those games, I want the technology because I don't want some clown who bet one
death
team.
threats.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you, loser.
It's it's happening right now in all sports. These guys are getting death threats. And it's like, look, I'm just trying to do an impossible job here. That's what I'm trying to do. So that way it takes the onus off the officials. They can not worry about that.
Okay, why don't you expand the technology? You would think they could use Hawkeye technology to know whether or not a football passes through 2 uprights. But instead, we choose to have 2 guys wearing glasses, probably have cataracts, looking way up in the sky, in the night sky.
I know.
It's good. Well,
Yeah.
how do you know?
When
you
you can
see?
put lasers, I mean, nobody'd even know if you put a laser beam on top of each goalpost. You got it. Baseball doesn't do it with their foul poles. Why don't you have a stupid laser beam on top of the foul pole? No problem. They won't do it. It's a bunch of old guys running these leagues who don't believe in technology. That's all I can figure out because it'd be easy to do. I mean, it's not a problem.
Why do
Right?
people not believe in technology?
I don't, because they don't understand it and they can't do it themselves. It's like, look, I still have people who don't stream these things. I mean, they're not streaming anything on their TV sets.
Look, I have no understanding how an airplane gets up in the air, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but you'll
but I
still
still
get on.
ride it, yeah. I know. I've had pilots
know.
try to explain, well, you got to understand the air and this
Yeah.
and that. It's like, well,
Yeah.
spare me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on a different level than me. I'll just go ahead and accept the fact you can fly this thing, and I'll go back and sit in my seat.
I use this gadget every day, my phone.
Mhm.
I have no idea how it does what it does, but I
Yeah.
use it. right? I'm talking, I've been doing radio for, I don't know, 25 years. I have no idea how I can talk into this microphone and somehow I'm in someone's speaker in their car.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought there was like a little guy inside of that your car door that was talking to you. I don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
But I still use it.
Yeah. Well, all I know is, Chad, it's much easier for me to find an address using my navigation system on my phone or my car than it was getting out that giant map and trying to pinpoint stuff.
That's the worst. Nothing
you
worse.
Remember those days, right?
I do. Like in the middle of Kansas, in the middle of nowhere, trying to find our way to Colorado, pulled over on the side of the road. It's pouring down rain, and Mom and Dad are having a discussion about the map.
Or was it an argument?
Yeah. It was an argument because my mom's upset. My dad is trying to get my mom to help him because he's driving, but she doesn't understand how to read the map, so we got to pull over so we can read the map.
Yeah, and you also hear, well, we were just at a gas station. Why didn't you ask for directions? Well, because I'm a man and I don't ask for directions.
No, I'm not going to ask for directions because that'd be foolish. Why would I do something like that? Yeah.
Make myself look stupid.
That's funny. I don't know. I just wish that the leagues, hopefully this will work. But, of course, this is just a test run through the preseason, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're already saying they don't think they can wire up all the stadiums with the Hawkeye before the regular season starts. Well, of course you can. Come on, you could start it now. They're just leaving themselves a little runway in case it doesn't work to their satisfaction. Or maybe those guys holding the sticks will go on strike, and we can't get along without guys holding sticks on the sidelines.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Anywho, that's where we're at. The NFL is expanding technology. I just hope it works.
Yeah.
And then they can take a look at it and then implement it next year.
Yeah, just put a chip in the football, right?
Again, you're speaking, you're above my pay grade.
Yeah, but
I don't know where the chip goes. I have no idea.
Well, it would go in the nose.
No, I'm saying, is that what it is? Do you put a chip in the football? I don't know how this works.
Well, I don't know if that's – you don't have to do that with Hawkeye.
Or is it like computers that are using cameras from all angles in the stadium?
That's what it is. That's what the Hawkeye is in tennis. They have a camera on each line.
But you're saying for the spotting of the football.
For the spotting of the ball, I don't think you could use cameras. You'd have to have a chip in both ends of the football, and then it would be fairly easy to have something pop up on your.
Now I'm starting to feel like one of the old guys. I'm like, I don't understand this. Don't worry about it. We'll just stick with the chain gang.
Yeah.
A chip in the football.
Well, that's what.
Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
To do that, yeah.
Oh. You're talking about like it's common knowledge. I had no idea that they're going to put a chip in the football.
No, not for the Hawkeye, not for the first downs. But if you're looking to spot the ball.
Have you seen a report about them putting a chip in the football for these idiots spotting the football to get it right?
It would certainly help, and there's no reason why you couldn't do it.
No, I'm saying, have you seen that reported?
Yeah, I've seen people speculating on it. I don't know if anybody's actually done it, but yeah, that's what people are saying. Put a chip in each nose, each end of the football, and then you got it.
There you go. And we can solve world's problems,
Absolutely.
Godfather.
No, we have the ideas. We just don't have the technology ourselves.
All right, when we come back, we're going to discuss Team USA. They're going to win gold because, we're just better than everyone else, and we got more talent. But if they want to continue their success, it could require an overhaul in how they approach these international competitions. We'll talk about it next. It's so important for students to have the tools they need for a successful school year, and to that end, we have partnered with our friends at Lazy Boy for the annual Stuff the Bus School Supply Drive. Now through August 19th, donate a backpack or 10 miscellaneous school supply items at any of the 6 local Lazy Boy locations, including Salem and Eugene, and you'll receive up to 25% off on your Lazy Boy purchase. Some exclusions apply. The Salvation Army will distribute your donations to local families in need, and as always, we thank you for your generosity. Get more details on the community page at z100portland.com. You ever seen Kool and Gang in concert, Godfather? Kool and Gang is awesome. Rip City Drive, my friends. Godfather's snoozing over there. Doesn't have his headphones on.
Well, I couldn't hear anything. Sound was off.
So is that a no on Kool and the Gang?
I have not seen them in concert, no.
All right, let's talk some Team USA basketball. As annoying as they are, I'm basically pulling against them. I hate to admit it, but I'm just being honest with you. I want LeBron to lose so all the people trying to clamor for his greatness and how his resume is better than MJ's and how this is a better dream team than 92 and all the nonsense will stop. But there is an issue moving forward, and that's everything that the Godfather has talked about. Team USA doesn't have the continuity or the system or all of the different things in place to currently grow our international brand of basketball and the way we compete in the Olympics. The way we do it is very simple. We have our NBA guys. We handpick a group of stars. We throw them all together, and then we go out there and play basketball against teams that have played together for years. Now, it usually works because we have the best talent.
Yeah,
but
they should win.
They should. But the problem is these international teams are getting better, and they're growing better basketball players, and they play together, and they spend more time together, and they have continuity, and they understand the international rules better. So we're in a dicey situation where you can't always just rely on the best talent to win. So my question is to you, and it's not an easy answer, but how do you overhaul it to where, at least for our international competition, when it comes to the Olympics, we're in a better position to go out there and not just have the best team because we got the best talent, but also play a better brand of basketball to be further ahead in that space?
Yeah, Chad, I think it's really difficult. You said it's a tough decision to make on what you do to get better. My only thought is this: you have to locate a core group of players who are not necessarily the superstars of the league. Maybe next level guys who have a chance to become superstars, or just those guys that are great grinders and good, solid players, and get them together every summer. Pay them to be there because USA Basketball's got plenty of money. Pay these guys to show up every summer for a couple weeks and have a camp. Show them how you want to play. Let them play together a little bit. Put together some scrimmages for them against college players or whatever you want to do. But do that and then sprinkle in the NBA stars. But then I think you have to have a coach coaching them who insists on playing team basketball. Right now, there's one player. They'd play much better as a team if there wasn't one guy out there just trying to muck up the whole thing and take over every game, and that's LeBron. But, yeah, I know. Don't tell me how many points he scores and clutch and all that other stuff. They would play better team basketball if they didn't have him.
I know, but they arguably have the two best coaches in basketball right now, and Eric Spoelstra and Steve Kerr.
Yeah, well, Steve Kerr seems to be buckling to his players. I mean, there was a problem, I
know, but if those two guys can't get those guys to play the way they want them to, then who can?
Well, I think Spoelstra can. He's not the head coach, though. His role is an assistant coach, and he's not the one voice that players are answering to right now, and that's Steve Kerr. And I just think Steve Kerr is too nice a guy, and he doesn't want to be the coach. You got to get a coach who says, look, yeah, Joel Embiid, I know you've been starting every game. Tonight you're not going to play, and I don't want to hear about it. I really don't want to hear about it. We're here to win gold. That's all we can do is win gold. We can't win anything less than that. And these games, don't be deceived. They're in pool play now. These games don't mean much because if they lose a game in pool play, it'll just be one game, and they'll still get to the medal round.
Yeah, but who cares about Embiid? He's out of shape right now. He's fat.
He's not ready to play, and he's not doing them much good either. But a lot of people.
Okay, here's what I don't understand. Why is it so hard for guys of that caliber? LeBron, Steph Curry, all the greats. They've got a great team put together with talent. Why is it so hard for those guys not to just play team basketball?
Chad,
I'm being serious. Why is it so hard? Move the bodies and move the basketball.
Well, I've been thinking a lot about
that. It's not rocket science.
Part of it has to do with the way they were brought up in basketball, the AAU system, where they were the man. They always had the ball. They could do whatever they wanted.
Are these guys concerned about being the man over there?
Yeah, some of them are. They're thinking about being the GOAT. But what I would say is this. if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing, you shouldn't even be there. And that discussion has to take place before a guy even gets on the boat to go over there. I mean, you just can't. You can't play that way, and it's going to cost them. Yeah, it may not this year. It may not cost them. But people are saying, you know what, as we move forward, they're not going to be favored teams because all these other guys, if you look at the other countries, watch the guys from France, the guys from Australia, and the guys from Spain, and Serbia too. They're playing. They're legitimately playing for their country. I mean, they cry when they win games. This is a big deal. A big, big deal in those countries to knock us off. You know, that's like any time where, look, if you can knock off the Chiefs in the NFL right now, that's the biggest win of your career. It's the same thing. These guys all want to beat us. Our guys are playing for their brand. They're not playing for their country. They're playing for their brand.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that either.
Well, as long as they're unselfish with it. But when you play for your brand, you're playing for yourself, and you tend to not make the extra pass. You get concerned with how many points you're playing, how many minutes you're playing.
So basically you're saying there's nothing that can be done to change the way we approach basketball because they're always going to pull NBA players who are going to be worried about their brand.
Right.
Because our guys make a lot more money than these other scrubs.
Right. And that's why I think the system has to change at the lower levels where we bring kids up playing team basketball. That's not an easy change as long as the AAU stuff's here. Oh, it's not ever going to change. I think we're stuck with it until we lose. When we lose, then you'll get
That's what it's going to take.
You're going to get a revenge team together. They'll go over there with the idea, look, we have to win now. We're going to play together.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. Brian, no Fox Sports Radio is coming up at 4:20. When we return, more nonsense with the NFL coaches. And this focuses in on the Commanders. Stop the charade, fools. All right, what's up, my friends? It's now 4 o'clock. We start with the Seattle Mariners. They're looking for the series win against the Red Sox. Bottom of the ninth in Boston. Game is tied up at 2. And right now, the Red Sox at the plate, 1 out and nobody out on base. The Mariners, when they're done here in Boston, will come back home to meet the Philadelphia Phillies. Elsewhere from the NFL, the Rams, their guard Jonah Jackson, out for the preseason, has a bruised scapula. We got the Hall of Fame game coming up tomorrow night. Football game number 1 on the season. It'll be on ESPN and ABC. Kickoff at 5. Texans and Bears. Broncos tackle Quinn Bailey was having a good camp. He's out with a fractured ankle. He was the team's 6th offensive lineman. From the NBA, the Cavs have extended Jared Allen 3 years and $91 million. Brian O, Fox Sports Radio, coming up at 4:20. Aaron Fincher is swinging by at 5:20. All right, Brian No, Fox Sports Radio, coming up at 4:20. We got to check in with B. No. I know he's got some takes with some of the different stuff going on around football. I want to ask him about some of the quarterback money that's being thrown around, which is ridiculous. His quarterback, Tua, getting $53.1 million on average each year. That's a pretty big number for him.
It sure is.
So Brian No will join us coming up in 20 minutes, and Aaron Fentress at 5:20. Got to ask him why he would choose Sacramento to break Trailblazer news. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, you're based out of Portland, man.
Yeah, who's paying your salary?
Call your boy, bruh. So we'll talk with Fentress coming up at 5:20. In case you missed it, The Godfather took a swing yesterday and went tumbling down in the sand trap.
Thanks for reminding everyone.
That's okay. I had 43 putts yesterday, so I'm looking for mad redemption tomorrow.
I would take 43 putts before I'd fall down again. I can tell you that.
I'd rather fall down in the bunker and get a hematoma than I would have 43 putts.
I knew you would.
I've been stung by a hornet. I've never fallen down in a trap, although I've come close. There's nothing I hate more than stepping up. You hit your ball, and you're like, you see it go in the bunker, and then you walk up and you see the lie, and you're like, are you kidding me? How am I going to stand and hit that ball? So I've had those lies where I can't get to the ball. I've had the lies where I'm standing out of the bunker, and the ball's well below my feet. That sucks. I've had it, basically a fried egg right up next to the lip of the bunker, which means you can't get it out. You just have to hit it and let it fall back and then get a second shot at it. All that stuff sucks. That, and that, all bad. Very bad. Falling down, embarrassing. No question about it.
No question.
Because then you got to look over at Bob and be like, I'm fine.
Yeah, it's Bob, I'm okay. Now, could you please help me up?
Yikers. All right.
Bob's a good guy.
Well, let's talk some NFL. We were talking about the nonsense with the Broncos and their quarterback competition. It's okay because Bo Nix was taken later in the first round. He's not looked at like some of the other quarterbacks in the draft. Like Caleb Williams, the Bears got this right. They drafted Caleb Williams number 1. I believe he was the best player in the draft, and I think he's going to be a stud of a quarterback. There's no need to put up some type of facade of a quarterback competition. We took him number 1. He's our franchise.
Yeah, give him the car keys on the day of the draft. I mean, he's running the show.
And they did that early on. They let everyone know, hey, just so everyone's aware, we're all on the same page here. Caleb Williams is our number 1. He's QB1. There you go. That's the answer. He knows. We know. You all know. Caleb Williams is our starting quarterback. For some reason, the Washington Commanders have yet to name Jaden Daniels as their quarterback. They're number 1. They're QB1. Jaden Daniels was thought of before the draft as a guy that could possibly go number 1. I'm a big fan of Jaden Daniels. Loved him at Arizona State. Loved him at LSU. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. I don't think he's Caleb Williams, but I think he's going to has a chance to be a very good NFL quarterback. So in my research on this one, their head coach, Dan Quinn, who comes over from the Cowboys, Godfather, as their defensive coordinator, he comes from the Pete Carroll tree.
Right. Long time in Seattle.
Yeah, long time in Seattle with Pete Carroll. And so I think what's going on here is that Pete Carroll was always big on competition at camp and in practice. And so I think Dan Quinn is just, he's following the blueprint for what he believes is going to work. And so therefore we have competition. We want to challenge guys. We want them to win competitions and prove themselves in camp and in practice. So I guess the more I dug into it and realized, okay, Dan Quinn's the coach, look at where he comes from and the culture he's part of, it makes sense as to why he's yet to name Jaden Daniels. He wants him to go out there and compete. And whether it's Jacoby Brissett or Marcus Mariota or whatever quarterback, Mark Rippon coming back from, retirement, name your guy. Thiesman, if Thiesman wants to throw his,
bring him back.
Hat in the ring, he can get in there. He wants Jaden Daniels to go out there and compete. I think it's a disservice to the team and to Daniels. I think they should just come out and be like, look, there's no mystery here. We took him number 2 overall in the draft. Also, this is not the Redskins that was being run by Daniel Snyder, who is one of the worst owners ever.
Yeah.
This is a brand new ownership group, brand new leadership, brand new coaching staff. It's basically a brand new team. As you put it, it's like an expansion team.
It kind of is. That's the way I look at them. And it's a team I kind of just forget about them even being there. They're just not in anybody's mind.
Yes.
I mean, who cares?
So I think when you have that type of situation, you're trying to reconnect with a fan base. Jaden Daniels, you're going to want him out there. The fans are not wanting to line up to watch Jacoby Brissett or whoever else you're thinking about putting out there. They want to see Jaden Daniels. You want to create excitement, and nothing in football creates more excitement than a young gunslinger who can go out there and make plays.
Yeah.
Again, why? I mean, is competition that important to these guys to where they can't just be honest and say, look, this is our guy. We took him number 2. What do you think?
Chad, don't you think that the competition thing isn't as big as just declaring the guy so that everybody on that team and in the coach's room and the quarterback room, they all know who the guy is? I would just assume everybody knows this is the guy. He's our guy. This is who we're rolling with.
Yeah. You take a guy number 2 overall, my guess is you expect him to play. Now, with Bo Nix, I have the same question mark that a lot of people did. I don't know if Bo Nix is an NFL quarterback. So I can understand if you want to maybe put him in a little bit of a competition to see if he truly can be the guy. I'm okay with that if you want to do that with some of those guys. Lamar Jackson was taken in the first round, but it was later in the first, and he didn't play right away. They had Flacco. They wanted to give him some time before they put him out there. But with some of these guys, if you're taking a quarterback at number 1 or number 2 or in the top 5, it's like just put them out there.
Yeah.
And let them play and let them showcase what they can do or can't do.
Well, it's just like, Bo, you can play him in exhibition games. You can watch him in practice. But until the bell rings and you start real games, you really don't know a thing.
I mean, heck, John Elway was terrible when he started out his career. He was not sharp as a rookie or in his second year either. It took time.
Well, Peyton Manning took time.
He did. He started right away. He set the record for interceptions in a year as a rookie. I think he had like 28. It was awful. But here's the key. He learned from that. And my belief is this. I understand what teams are worried about. They don't want to damage a guy early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have offensive line issues or if you think protection is going to be a problem to where you could get a guy destroyed, I understand that. But my thought is if a guy cannot go out and work through the bumps that you're going to have as a rookie in your first season in the NFL and be able to persevere through that, then he's probably not your guy.
Yeah.
The good ones, the guys who are great, they always find a way to rise above and get through that mess before and then show what they can do as a quarterback. So my thought is with Bo Nix, is it really that different if you put him out there week 1 compared to week 6? No, I don't think so. Put him out there right away. If he's truly the guy that Sean Payton thinks he is, he's going to rise above any of the mistakes he's going to make. And more importantly for me, the way I've always looked at it, Godfather, most rookie quarterbacks are going to have issues in year number 1.
Absolutely.
Well, get him out there for a full 16 games so that he can work through that and think about how much farther ahead he's going to be going into year number 2 because he had that rookie season a full year under his belt.
Yeah, let him make those mistakes and learn those lessons in his first year. Because really, what are your expectations for this season anyway? You're not going anywhere. But every year he's there, that team's going to get better. With Sean Payton there, you could take it to the bank. They're going to get better. So let's get those mistakes out of his system now.
Now, if you take a quarterback in the first round, but you still have, like, for instance, the Chiefs. They drafted Patrick Mahomes, but they waited to put him in as a starter because they still had Alex Smith, and they were a team that had a chance to compete and possibly get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you have that situation, that's fine. Let the guy sit.
I
But if
agree.
you don't have a true incumbent who can go out there and really be a difference maker and win games, then what are we doing here? Jared Stidham is not going to be the long-term starter in Denver, and Jacoby Brissett is not going to be the long-term starter in Washington. So I would rather get the guy out there day one and let everyone know who's going to start. So that way, because the way I look at it is for Nix, if you wait until week 5 or 6 to put him in there, that's 5 or 6 games that he could have been out there on the field getting reps, and instead you gave it to a guy that's not the future. That doesn't compute in my brain. It just doesn't. Now, if a guy comes out and proves, like who's that idiot they drafted? Paxton Lynch, who his career was finished up when he was crying on the sideline in Las Vegas getting beat by the Raiders. If a guy's not ready, and you know he's not ready and he's going to put the team or himself at risk, then don't play him. But if you believe he's ready or close to being ready, or you think he's going to be the guy, you got to play him.
Yeah.
I don't want to give reps away to somebody else who's not going to be the long-term future. It just doesn't make sense. So we continue the charade, except for the Chicago Bears who got it right. Yeah, Caleb Williams is our starter. No question. He is the unquestioned starter. And for Caleb Williams, he knows, no silly competition. I'm going to go out there and prepare and get ready for week 1. And I think it helps the quarterback to know what his role is going to be.
I also think, Chad, if you make it a competition, you're sort of tied to that.
Yeah.
Now, what if they go out in the exhibition games? Nix doesn't play well, but Stidham does. Okay, you said it was a competition. Now you're going to tell Stidham, I'm going to let the kids start.
I know.
That doesn't work either. Why have it be a competition if you know right now who you're going to start? And I guarantee you, he knows right now what he wants to do.
Of course he does. These coaches, they're not confused. Sean Payton has always got a plan and knows exactly what he wants to accomplish. He knew from day one when he took over that Russell Wilson was not going to be his quarterback after that year. And so he moved off him. Now, I could use the Trailblazers as an example. They drafted Scoot Henderson number 3 overall.
Yeah.
They've said that they're committed to their young guards. Then why on earth do you want Anthony Simons out there starting and taking minutes away from those guys? I love Ant. You love Ant. Great guy. But why would you want him on the roster taking minutes away from guys who need to play?
Yeah. Well, it's not just Scoot, but it's Shaden Sharp too. And, you're committed. You've already said it. You said it out loud in front of microphones. That's the future. We're going to play those 2 guys. That's what we're going to do.
Why don't these teams hire us to help? I could be a consultant.
Chad, I'm serious. PR is one of the biggest problems that organizations have right now. They don't, in today's world, know what to say and what not to say. They're dumb. They really are doing some dumb things PR-wise.
Yeah, that's why I love it when, like, Hollywood types, they get together in these group tanks and they start trying to tell the rest of America how they should vote or do this or do that. They have no idea, living in their bubble, what it's like to be a regular, ordinary, average Joe. Spare me your takes. NFL teams, I think they get caught up in their own world sometimes, and they could use someone like me to help with their message.
Yeah, and they'd have to give you the power to where if you said, guys, this is what we're going to do, that they actually did it. Because there might be guys in place right now that are telling them the right thing, but they're just going to ignore it because, hey, I'm the head coach of an NFL team. I can do what I want.
All right, what does Brian Noe think about Tua getting 53.1 per year? He's up next. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio. Aaron Fincher is stopping by at 5:20. All right, great friend of the show from Fox Sports Radio, the one and only Brian O. Bino! What's up, my brother?
Chad, Doing, always good to talk anything with you, but especially ball. You know, I'd say ball is at the top of the list, but anything you want to get into is fine with me.
All right, let me share you a story that I think you'll appreciate. So yesterday I was letting my listeners know the unfortunate events that expired on the golf course or transpired on the golf course. I had 43 putts, and it was a miserable day. 6 2-putts and 1 4-putt, which is, well, it's awful, Brian. And so 43 was a number, and I had someone reach out to me and said, hey, wasn't that the number that Brian O hit in terms of free throws with your contest? I said, no, close, but he hit 49. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, hilarious, because it could have gone with, hey, is that close to the 3-pointers he made that one time? No one remembers that.
No.
It's as if that never even happened, you know?
No, I want to play this. We want to start the discussion off with this. Dwight and I think it's fascinating, but Jerry Jones asked the perfect question at camp a couple of days ago in regards to his quarterback, Dak, and the pending contract that he's going to have to sign.
Dak is a better quarterback than Jordan Love.
Well, Dak for us is I get in trouble every time I make comparisons. Okay, I do get in trouble. And of course, we saw a head-to-head match with Green Bay last year. We've all got that burr in our saddle. I'm anxious for Dak to get a chance to show he's the best with the Cowboy star on it.
And you think he can do that without a new deal?
Oh, yes.
What
Yes,
gives you that kind of
yes. But don't. That might imply that we're not going to do a new deal, and that's just not the case. Those things change. It can happen.
Hey, Bino, Jarrah's beautiful, but he couldn't answer the question because if he did and he said, oh, yeah, Dak's better than Jordan Love, that meant probably 60 to 65 million a year.
Yeah, he's a shrewd businessman, that Jerry Jones. But it's funny because it's like baseball, you know? The tie goes to the runner.
Yeah.
That type of thing, even though it's not a real rule. That's really how it goes. Like, if you look at Dak and Jordan Love, even if you say they're very close, and the numbers would tell you, at least last year, they're pretty comparable quarterbacks. The tie goes to your guy. You know what I mean? Like, you would say, oh, Dak. We just had John Harbaugh talk about Lamar Jackson going down as the GOAT when it's all said and done, which is ridiculous. But you typically talk your guy up. The reason he didn't is because of what you're saying, Chad. They're in the middle of a negotiation. He can't say, yeah, he's better than Jordan Love. He backed off that. He Derek Jetered that whole thing, sidestepped it completely.
It's so good. Brian O, Fox Sports Radio with us here on the show. So what do you think about the numbers? Your guy Tua got 53.1 annual average, Jordan Love 55, and now we're getting reports that freaking Brock Purdy could make 60 to 65 when he inks his new deal. How do you deal with that, and how would you handle that when it comes to guys who aren't in that elite category getting sick money?
Yeah, it's a tough thing, right? Because you're seeing a lot of teams being reluctant to playing hardball. Where the Dolphins could have done it, the Packers could have done it. The Dolphins could have done it with Tua saying, hey, you've got a year left on your deal. We really believe in you, say all the flowery things without the actions to support it. Like, hey, we believe in you, but, you know, there have been some injury issues. We just want to see more, and then we'll give you the big-time deal. They could have used the franchise tag for 2 more years beyond this year, you know, and they didn't want to play hardball. And the same thing with the Packers. They have 1 year of Jordan Love being a starting quarterback, and he was really good, arguably the best in the second half of last season, but it's still only 1 year. And they could have played hardball. It could have been messy. It could have dragged on throughout training camp, but I would absolutely be shocked if the Packers said, hey, we believe in you. We just want to see more. We need more information before we make that type of long-term commitment. Jordan Love is not sitting out games when the season rolls around. If he didn't have a brand new deal, he would be in Brazil in week 1 on the field against the Eagles. So it is a little bit surprising that the Dolphins and the Packers both showed complete reluctance to playing hardball at all. That's just where we at. The next guy up, that's where we're at, is when the next dude is about to get paid, the teams just say, hey, pay him, and they talk themselves into it. Well, I mean, Tua led the league in passing yards last year. He's really good, and this could work out. The same thing what the Packers did. I don't know, man. There's an argument to be made that maybe playing hardball would have been the better approach to take.
Okay, that's an argument. But I know, too, as your favorite guy, Brian, what would you have done? Would you have given him this deal, or would you have played hardball with him?
Dwight, you know me. I'm an ally of honesty, okay?
Yeah.
I would have. I think it's better and lower risk to play hardball because Tua is a team guy, and you're looking at this and saying, hey, he played great last season. He was upright every single game, but the playoff loss was a huge disappointment against the Chiefs. He didn't step up in big games, and he hasn't completely put the injury concerns to bed. So do we want to give him the deal right now? Do we feel comfortable doing it? I don't think the answer is yes. So if the answer is no, we're not comfortable doing this, then wait. You know, I get that it might be really messy and there could be a holdout and it could be this whole drawn-out thing, and you don't want that either, but it might be the better of two options that aren't ideal. So, yeah, I think it probably would have been better to play hardball, even though it could drag out and not be ideal either.
How would you deal with Brock Purdy?
Well, we know the same thing. We've talked about this a ton, Chad, is Brock Purdy is a guy he's good. He's not great. There's a big difference. And if you're paying him huge money and you have to skimp around him, I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he greatly benefits from the great talent around him. So if you pay him huge cash and all of a sudden you don't have Debo and Kittle and Ayuk and McCaffrey and all these Trent Williams, all these weapons around him, then what do you have? If you put Brock Purdy on the Giants or the Panthers or the Patriots, you think he's putting up the same numbers? No way. So they're going to pay him. They're going to talk themselves into it and say, hey, we really think he's a difference maker, which he isn't. He's a good quarterback that is not a difference maker, a guy that can make it hum when the supporting cast leaves something to be desired in spots. But they're going to do it, Chad. I would be floored if they said, you know what? If we're being honest, he greatly benefits from the talent around him. We're not convinced. We're pivoting away from Purdy. They're going to back up the Brinks truck, as most of these teams do.
Brian, the question would follow then, yeah, you don't pay him, okay? There's not a lot of real, like what you would call difference makers out there. I mean, how long do you have to go without a legit guy, even as good as Brock Purdy, before you find him? And it seems like it kind of reminds me of the Blazers trading away Damian Lillard. Yeah, let's just pop down to the lottery and find another guy and move on. And they may not get out of the lottery for a while. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like, yeah, he's not the best guy, but there's only, 4 quarterbacks in the league who've won a Super Bowl now. And, you know, I just don't know where you go from there.
No, I get your argument, Dwight. It's one of these deals where, yeah, to your point, you could certainly do worse than Tua, Jordan Love,
right?
Dak, Brock Purdy. Yeah, you could do worse than all 4 of those guys easily. Like, you could draft a handful of guys and be worse every single time. It could happen. But I still look at it where if you're paying even a good quarterback huge money, you could be screwed. Right? Like, you need a quarterback that lives up to the deal production-wise, And if it's greatly less production-wise than you're paying him, that's going to be a rough spot to be in, because if your quarterback who was on a rookie deal wasn't making huge strides with the best supporting cast around him, what do you think's going to happen when you've got to skimp because you're paying that quarterback huge money? You know what I mean? So I know that you could look and say, well, is Carson Beck from Georgia going to be the guy? What about Shedeur Sanders or Quinn Ewers? Or you could roll your eyes about all those guys and be skeptical and say they might not be better than any of these dudes that just got paid. That's true, but I think that it's silly to look at Dak or Tua like It's your favorite blankie when you were a young kid. And you're like, we just can't part with this. Just can't. Life without Dak. What exactly could that be? It could be better. What has Dak exactly done? He's put up some regular season numbers. What have the Cowboys ever done playoff-wise with a great roster? So why are we clinging on to this being the only option, and you got to pay him $55 to $60 million per season? No, thank you.
Hey, Brian, what about the Raiders being dumb and making fun of Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, that's so stupid. That's at least your Broncos didn't do that, Chad.
I know.
You know? It's one thing. Look, if this was Max Crosby, who's been productive the whole time he's been a Raider.
Yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah, if he does something like that, okay. He's a veteran. He's at least sacked Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like, he's been productive in that rivalry. It's a 7th-round rookie out of Air Force that's doing this. If that isn't the epitome of a rookie mistake, I don't know what is. Where it's like, bro, you haven't even been on the field for a down yet, and you've gotten Mahomes' attention, who's already carved up the Raiders. He's 10-2 against the Raiders with like 30 touchdown passes and 4 picks, and you're clowning the guy? That, oh my gosh. I hope he got fined for that. They had to do something. It's like, I get that there's a swagger, and Antonio Pierce, remember he came up with the Mahomes rules?
Yeah.
And it's similar to the Jordan rules where they're
That
just going
was
to be
dumb,
really
too.
physical
Yeah.
with him. I get it. You're not going to bow and you're not going to be scared. Okay, fine. But a rookie you can't have a rookie doing that with Mahomes. Just can't.
Yeah, the Mahomes rules are fine. Just don't talk about it publicly, dum-dum. Jeez.
Yeah, and they took it to the next level with the Kermit the Frog doll in training camp. Like, come on, man. Everybody's got a cell phone. You just got to be smarter than that.
Brian, the owners want 18 games, obviously, and people think it's inevitable. But the players are in a position to demand something in order to give the owners what they want. What do you think they ought to demand? They've talked about, natural grass fields and other things. What do you think would be the best thing for them to demand?
Well, I think the bye is going to be a given, right?
Yeah,
I think it's going to give me 2 buys. They're all about natural grass fields, and I get it. It's not just an injury thing. It's a wear and tear thing. There have been so many players talking about it makes a world of difference. Like, you wake up on a Monday morning after playing on field turf, and it's way different than grass. So, yeah, field surface has been a big thing. Of course, the cut of the pie, that's the biggest thing, probably, the compensation overall. They might look to get some type of guaranteed deals, which will never happen in the NFL. I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. But, yeah, what you're saying is all grass, another bye week. They're all about, like, these OTAs being done away with. And it's like, you guys are just going to have longer training camps. Like, why? That's not a gain for you guys at all. But I think the field surface is one of the things that they really want to get done. And I don't think ownership, I mean, that's a pretty easy concession to make, don't you think? This isn't going to be something that, I know it's going to cost some money, but it's not. You're coming out ahead if you've got an 18th game and you have to have all grass fields around the National Football League. You're still coming out way ahead on the ownership side.
Brian O, Fox Sports Radio here on the Rip City Drive. I want to play another clip for you to give you a preview of what it's going to be like when the injury report's discussed. Here is Jim Harbaugh being questioned about injuries at camp with his tackle, Rashawn Slater.
There's no injury there with Rashawn.
It's not something that's he wanted to keep playing, so
Little thing.
Huh?
It's a little thing.
I don't know. I'm not going to categorize it. I'm not going to categorize it what it is or what it is not. I'm just telling you, you're going to see quite a bit of that as we go through this first stage.
With Rashawn, though, we saw him leave practice yesterday, walk into the facility with trainers. And then you and Joe went over and had a chat with Mark.
Khalil. I don't know if did you see?
Yeah, I saw Josh Palmer, Hayden. But so Rashawn is the same as those guys, or it's a different situation.
Yeah, I'm not even categorizing it.
Can you imagine what he's going to be like mid-season? Unbelievable.
Hey, man, I get if this is October and you don't want to reveal your hand if
Yeah.
someone's going to play or if they're just questionable. Fine. It's late July. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why. Maybe it's just in your DNA as a coach. You just don't want to speak on injuries and you're vague to a Harbaugh degree. But that to me goes above and beyond, man. It's July 30-something. You know what I mean? Like, what's the harm in saying, yeah, he got a little bit nicked up, he'll be day-to-day or whatever. I don't see what the problem is with just saying that, but he doesn't want to.
Hey, Brian, obviously Sean Payton likes Bo Nix, or he wouldn't have taken him in the draft. But they're having their little quarterback competition there in Denver, and we're kind of wondering what you think. Would you just start Bo Nix from the game one?
Well, I mean, it's a spirited competition here, Dwight.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I have learned you don't sell Stid short, as Bill Belichick once called him, huh? Jared Stidham. Look, we know Stid is not the quarterback of the future there in Denver. They're hoping that Bo Nix is. It's just a matter of has he digested enough of the playbook? Does he look comfortable enough where you're not feeding him to the wolves? You know what I mean? Like, I always look at it like this. If he's to a stage where he's not establishing bad habits as a starting quarterback, then let him get out there and learn on the job, If you look at this, and Sean Payton's way smarter than I am. He's going to be able to tell. He'll say, if I'm being completely honest, he just doesn't have the playbook down yet. We need him to have that down before we throw him out there, because there's enough going on as a rookie quarterback in the NFL. You just have to be on top of all of that stuff, the terminology, the playbook, the checks, like all that mental side of it. And if he's not there, I wouldn't throw him out there. I just don't want, for any organization, if I'm them, I don't want my rookie quarterback to start establishing bad habits that you have to correct while he's playing in the NFL. I just don't want to do that. So if he's to the stage where he's not a likely candidate to establish bad habits, yeah, I'd put him out there.
Brian, I'm not sure what you think about Robert Saleh with the Jets, but I'm concerned that he might be a dum-dum because this latest comment about, I'm relying on instinct to not play Rodgers till game one. It's like, well, thanks a lot, Tips. Really appreciate that. Like, this guy, every time he opens his mouth, he says something a little bit bizarre. So what's your read on that whole situation?
Yeah, there's a lot riding on this season, but it's one of these deals where, and I'm not saying every defensive coordinator is not made to be a head coach. Look at DeMeco Ryans, right? DeMeco Ryans was a defensive coordinator with the Niners. He did a great job last season with the Houston Texans. So Robert Saleh, who was formerly the defensive coordinator of the 49ers, he's done some things where I get it, Chad. You're like, I don't know. Like when Rodgers went to Egypt and he just threw it out there like, yeah, it was an unexcused absence. And he's just throwing gas on the flames. It's like, that's not the way to handle it as a head coach. So, yeah, he's done some of those things. I think he's made some rookie mistakes dealing with the press and some of the things that he said, especially in that market. But, hey, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy and goes out there and balls out, all of a sudden we're going to look at Saleh in a completely different light. Like, it's amazing what a good quarterback can do. If I'll put it this way, if the Texans with DeMeco Ryans had Davis Mills last season, we wouldn't be talking about him the way we are when they had C.J. Stroud. You know what I mean? So it's a great upgrade from Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle to Aaron Rodgers. And if Rodgers is doing his thing, which if he's healthy, he will be, I think Saleh's going to be just fine.
Okay, Brian, they've enacted some new kickoff rules, so we're going to see. And not only that, with those new rules, now we're not going to basically have any more surprise onside kicks.
Yeah.
What do you think of all that?
I'm cool with it. It's one of these where I think it's better than it was. Is it perfect all across the board? No, because I love the surprise onsides. Do I remember when the Saints did it to the Colts in the Super Bowl? And
unbelievable.
That aspect is gone. I don't like that. But if you're asking me which would I rather have, I would rather have it this way where it's an actual play again and you get some action. And you look at last year, only 21% of kickoffs were returned. Think about that. 79% of kicks were not returned. that's just boring. It was a non-play. And they're projecting somewhere around 55%. That will be the return rate this season. So, yeah, I hate that the surprise onside went away. I don't know why it just popped in my head. Remember when I think it was the Falcons did it on the road to the Cowboys, and they just put the ball on the side of the tee, right, and they just kicked one of the ends so it spins around like a top. Yeah. It just spins around, and the Cowboys looked at it like, what do we do? And it went 10 yards, and the Falcons recovered it. Stuff like that is still fun, but it's gone away. I would say that, hey, man, you got to sacrifice something along the way. So if the surprise onside goes away, I'm more in favor of what the new kickoff is going to look like. At least you get some action, man. I'm in favor of it.
You watch any of the Olympics? Do you have any sports you like to follow, or are you kind of a nah on that?
Oh, man, I love the Olympics, Chad. Love them. You know, Gambling No was getting down on South Sudan against the U.S. today.
No, you weren't.
Oh, I absolutely would. Drew Holiday let me down. Yeah, I love Drew Holiday, but I needed him to get to 4 rebounds, Dwight, and that didn't work out. But I did take in-game South Sudan, their team total, over 80.5 points, and they got there. They got there, right? A little flurry at the end got me there. So we came out a little bit ahead in that game, but just for fun, my girlfriend – you can tell she's a keeper, right? She's like, how about we just bet on a sport we know nothing about?
Wow.
I'm like, I like what you're thinking here, you know? And so we did. We laid the 6.5 in women's water polo. Team USA took down Team Italy today, and they covered the spread. So that was a good result for us.
So are you going to bet breakdancing?
I'm not sure I know how to do that, Dwight. You know, maybe I'll see if there's like a group stage or something like that, get a little feel for it,
sure.
You know, maybe there's something I could do in the knockout stage if that's the way it works. I don't even know. But, yeah, maybe. I can't say absolutely not. Maybe there's a little angle we can take advantage of.
She sounds like a female Chad, actually. That sounds like something I would have been down with about 20 years ago.
Female Chad, if, let's say, Italy covered the 6.5, female Chad would be like, let's go all in on whatever else coming up here. Yeah.
I knew I had a problem when I was getting up early to bet on European hockey that I couldn't watch or know anything about. Jonesing for action. No joke.
You know what? And it's crazy. You could talk yourself into it where it's like, this guy whose last name ends in ski, I like him. You know, you look at the odds, he's minus 145. This guy's a shoo-in, right? You have no idea what you're talking about.
You got anything for this crazy man before we let him go, Godfather? I'd love Brian No. Bino! You're the best, buddy. We appreciate your time as always.
Always good hanging with you guys, man. I hope you have a tremendous evening. And if you have any Olympic bets for it, send them my way, you know? If you're big on handball, whatever it happens to be, let me know.
All right, man. That was great. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette now, No. Thank you. There's Bino. All right, Rip City Drive continues. Aaron Fentress is going to join us coming up at 5:20. When we come back, we'll talk about the Jets and their, quote, instincts. Well, Godfather, I was pretty certain, and then we get the recent comments from Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jets, that based on his instincts, he's going to keep Aaron Rodgers out until game number 1 of the regular season. Well, I'm sure glad the Jets are relying on his instincts to right the ship there.
I don't understand. I mean, he could have easily just said, I don't think Aaron's going to play in the exhibition season. When he starts bringing his instincts into this thing, that just doesn't compute for me. I don't know how good his instincts are.
Yeah.
They haven't looked real good. I know his instinct in picking his offensive coordinator was not real good.
No, his instincts are terrible. One, he took a job to be the head coach of the Jets. That's not good instincts because of the Jets. Two, he brought in that buffoon of an offensive coordinator, like you just mentioned, Nathaniel Hackett. And then three, his instincts told him to let everyone know that Aaron Rodgers had an unexcused absence, which, one, is not proper English, and two, is just dumb to say out loud because Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. So, yeah. Thanks a lot, Tips. You're going to keep Aaron Rodgers out coming off the Achilles until the regular season. Boy, that was really hard to figure that one out.
Yeah.
He should be fired on the spot if they tried to play him in the preseason game.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
He's the last guy in the league that needs to play exhibition games.
Oh, it's going to end badly. The Jets season is not going to go well. He will make coaching decisions that will not work out, or Aaron Rodgers will get hurt again. I think. What are the odds that Aaron Rodgers plays a full 16-game schedule this year?
I don't see it. Do you?
No. I'm afraid for him because I'm worried about his lack of mobility coming off the Achilles.
Yep.
Opening him up to bigger shots than what he's accustomed to. And look, I like Aaron Rodgers is a delicious quarterback. The way he can move and throw the football, all the things he could do before the injury. The guy's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. But I fear for his body this year. And he's not exactly young anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he didn't play all last year. He's been away from the game for a while. That sometimes doesn't go well either.
No. And you Trailblazer fans understand this. Some franchises might be cursed. The Jets being one of them, right? Broadway Joe ain't rolling through that doorway anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Thanks a lot, Coach. Really appreciate that. One, Aaron Rodgers had an unexcused absence. And two, your instincts tell you that you're not going to play him until week 1. What a genius.
Gosh. Why would you even, I mean, why
My
would you,
instincts.
Yeah, why would you say, there's no need
Coach,
to say
we
that.
don't care about your instincts, all right? Just save it. Is he playing or not? No? Okay. That's just a weird way to word it. Well, based on my instincts. Really? Your instincts?
It took instinct to make that decision? That's what you used?
I just assumed that he wouldn't play in the preseason. I didn't need my instincts to tell me that. Of course he's not going to play. He's coming off an Achilles. You're not going to put him out there for a meaningless game. Give him more time to get ready for the regular season.
Yeah.
Don't take a chance. Thanks, Coach. Well, one thing for certain, coaches are not all created equal, are they?
No. And if he's going to trust his instincts throughout the season, I probably would wager against them every week.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. All right. When we come back, we're going to get ready for the arrival of Aaron Fentress, who's going to join us at 5:20. We got more Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, of course.
This guy's a beauty.
He's the best.
Jim
He's
Harbaugh.
A content machine.
He's the gift that keeps on giving. Uh-oh, it's 5 o'clock. The Mariners have fallen in extras, 10 innings, a 3-2 loss to the Red Sox. They dropped 2 of 3 in Boston. Now they come back home to meet the hottest team in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies. Right now, Seattle has a half-game lead in the AL West. From the NFL, Rams guard Jonah Jackson out for the preseason with a bruised scapula. We got some football coming up tomorrow night on ESPN and ABC with the Hall of Fame game. Texans and Bears. Broncos tackle Quinn Bailey fractured his ankle at practice. He was the team's 6th offensive lineman. The Cavs have extended Jared Allen 3 years and $91 million. And coming up at 5:20, we'll get the latest on your Portland Trailblazers. Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian is going to join us. And coming up next, we have a 4-pack of tickets for your Hillsboro Hops. Well, I certainly don't mind Joe Wallace jamming and singing at the same time.
It's the best. It's the best.
All right. It's time for some goodies. As Dwight and I always let you know, we're here to help people, frankly. And we want to do a giveaway, so we're going to handle that right now. And this is for your opportunity to have a 4-pack of tickets to sit in the Rip City Radio Row at Hillsboro Ballpark. The Everett Aqua Sox and the Hillsboro Hops, August 6th at 7:05, first pitch. So if you'd like a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops, fire away right now, 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. Call now, and you'll get a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops as they will take on Everett. 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. 4-pack of tickets for the Hops and the Aqua Sox at Hillsboro Ballpark. Fire away right now. Call. Call the show. 503-248-0620.
What cities might be invited to call, Chad?
McMinnville.
Thank you.
Grand Ronde.
Great.
All right. By the way,
City.
Lincoln City. Knee tarts. All right. We do have good news as well, Godfather. We have our Take Me Up to the Ball Game contest set. And it's going to be an opportunity for you to go up and check out some Mariner baseball.
That's cool.
Which could be pretty darn exciting. So we're going to kick it off on August 5th. August 5th will be when it kicks off, and it'll be an online contest. So we're going to direct you to the website for your chance to win the Mariners weekend. Take Me Up to the Ball Game. The prizes will include a pair of tickets to each game of the weekend homestand with the Mariners taking on the Texas Rangers, September 13th through the 15th at T-Mobile Park. You get 2 nights at Hotel 5, a stay Pineapple Hotel with out-of-the-ordinary hotels in extraordinary locations. And fans can purchase tickets to upcoming games, of course, at MLB.com/Mariners. So the contest is coming up and a chance for you to have, well, a weekend with the M's on us.
You know, that was so successful last year. The people who went just loved it. They had a great time, great hotel.
Jeffrey won, big Mariners fan. He was jacked out of his mind.
Yeah.
And he went and got to see some great baseball before the Mariners melted down at the end of the season. So that's coming up. We'll kick it off on August 5th. All right, on to more important pressing matters, and that would be Jim Harbaugh. I don't even know how to explain this guy. I think you and I just discovered it. He really is a genius-level type thinker and mind and a great football coach. But what happens is when you have geniuses, when they talk, they say crazy things.
He's eccentric, I think.
Very eccentric.
Yeah.
He is the weirdo of the family, but in a good way. He's just so smart and brilliant that he's just a whack job. And he says things where you're like, what did you just say? Like, take a listen to him talking about padded practice and just being out there on the field. Like, this guy There are people that love football, but I don't know if you're going to find someone that loves it more than Jim Harbaugh. Take a listen to this.
Just a great day for football. Whether pads or no pads, I mean, I look at how much time do I have today. Today practice gets to be an hour and 45 minutes, and that's what I look forward to. It's an hour and 45 minutes of pure joy for me. I mean, the distractions of the modern world cease. I have no cell phones to answer. I just to get to go out there, sun shining, cool breeze coming in off of the ocean, and get to interact with the players, the coaches, all of us who have a love and passion for the game of football. So it's just a gift, and then then the excitement, the work, the challenge, all energy all goes into making it a better day today than yesterday. So tomorrow I get 2 hours of that pure joy where I don't have to be inside. I get to be out. Yeah, I get super excited about it because you get.
There's Jim Harbaugh talking about padded practice.
I hope he loves his family as much as he likes padded practice.
No, he doesn't. No, it's padded practice.
It's number one. Right?
That's number one. Now, this next clip, I mean, you hear that and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But this next one's a classic, the glide theory.
He's got the glide theory. He doesn't want to take all the credit for it, but he pretty much invented it.
I think he did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think his brother John or his pops could come up with something quite like this, with sound effects included.
Yeah.
Like if you're a player and you hear him talking like that, like you'll be like, wait, what? Because when I see him talk, like most of the brilliant weird guys, like I don't know if he's being serious or not. Like I was like, is he being real?
Yeah, he's trying to get over on me or what?
Yeah, because I'm simple-minded, so I'm always worried about being snookered like that.
Yeah.
Like Jim Harbaugh could just violate my mind. I wouldn't even know it, and he would just leave. He's crazy like that. But here's the glide. Oh, well, just take a listen to it. You try to explain it to me. The glide theory with sound effects and everything.
In your coaching career, was there something, an injury or something like that made you have this approach?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the analogy of a rocket taking off. I mean, and then before you know it, boom, or a plane going down the runway. I mean, it starts at a dead stop and then it builds up speed, gets faster, going so fast that it just has to leave the ground. And then, I mean, there's a little bit of a glide that takes place even then. And then before you know it, you're up to 30,000 feet.
Have you always had this approach to camp? In terms of like taking it easy?
Glide theory came in 2012, August of 2012. That was invented, named. Yeah.
Where did it come from? Did you just where you just created it, or did anything happen for you to begin the glide theory?
I mean, mostly came. I mean, humility prevents me from saying that it came from me, but me and my dad, Jack Harbaugh.
Humility.
We went back and forth and
it's such a humble man.
Came up with that and named it.
Very humble man. Gosh.
The glide theory came in about 2012.
Yeah, it should be a national holiday, Chad. I don't know why it's not.
Humility.
He remembers the exact date, I'm sure. He probably could have put the date and the time on there.
Like taking it easy.
Glide theory came in 2012, August of 2012. That was invented, named.
Invented.
Yeah.
Where did it come from? Did you just where you just created it, or did anything happen for you to begin the glide theory?
I mean, mostly came. I mean, humility prevents me from saying that it came from me, but me and my dad, my dad, Jack Harbaugh.
Jack
went
Harbaugh.
Back and forth.
In case you didn't know, my dad's name Jack.
Came up with that and named it.
There you go.
Alexander Graham Bell wasn't as proud inventing the telephone as he is inventing the glide theory.
Marconi's got nothing on Harbaugh.
Oh, God, no.
I know you could. Yeah, you invented the radio. Screw that. I got the glide theory, man.
That's I got the glide.
Suck it.
August of 2012.
I don't care about Clyde the glide. I have the glide theory.
Yes. He's had it now for 12 years. Wow. Dozen years with the glide theory.
I mean, whether you like Harbaugh or not, he is going to be fabulous to pay attention to throughout the year.
Yeah, refreshing, I would say.
I love hearing him talk about Justin Herbert, too. Here's the crazy part. He now finally gets to work with a quarterback like Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty scary. Jim Harbaugh's got Justin Herbert. Pretty good. That means whatever's going on inside of that savant of a mind that he has, there's no limitations when you have that at quarterback. It's like unbelievable to me.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what he dreams up.
What do you think the players, how do they respond when they hear stuff about the glide theory?
I think when you have a coach like that, you learn that there are certain times that you just have to tune him out.
Yeah.
You can't laugh at him. So you got to just sit there with a stone face. And until he gets up to the whiteboard or the chalkboard, you pay little attention to what he says, I think.
And that's actually pretty funny. Oh, Coach, the glide theory. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
You can kiss his ass.
God, that's great. Have you written a book on it yet? I really ought to write a book.
No, I've done that before. I do that all the time. We all do it, like with bosses or I've had instructors in college where I'm like, something that I just don't like, but I'm like, dude, that's really nice. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah. Well, Chad, humility prevents me from saying I invented it, but.
He was one step shy of saying he invented the game of football right there.
Yeah, just about.
Gosh. I love that, though, with the rocket taking off.
Provides his own sound effects.
Oh, my goodness. He's a beauty. He's a one of a kind.
Yeah.
One of a kind.
Just for people, the glide theory, I heard him explain it earlier in camp. He was talking about he doesn't want the players to get overzealous when they get the pads out. He wants them to kind of build up to that slowly. Come on, don't be trying to take somebody's head off on the first day of padded practice. Just kind of move up to it slowly. And that's the logic behind it. And I think it's good logic, especially when you're taking over a team like the Chargers, who've had injury problem after injury problem over the years. So maybe you ought to try and keep them safe just for a few extra days here during camp.
I love the guy. I love the guy. I think he's awesome. I think Jim Harbaugh's awesome, and I think Justin Herbert should be on his knees every night thanking God that the Chargers ownership went out and paid big money for a big coach. Because, in life, not everything, but a lot of things you get what you pay for. So when you are willing to spend big money on a coach like Jim Harbaugh, your whole program is now different. And it brings with it instant credibility because of his track record.
Yeah, and he's so organized. He knows how to do this,
The goofy talk. Don't let that disturb you. He's got a plan for exactly how he's going to detail and handle every minute of camp.
Yeah.
And that's the type of coach I want. I want a guy that knows all the details. Every single detail he's on top of. And that's play calling, in-game situations, how to handle the clock, the whole deal. That's what you get when you pay big money for Jim Harbaugh. All right, why is he breaking news in Sacramento? That's the only question that matters with Aaron Finchers, who joins us next. Rip City Radio wants to send you on an unforgettable trip to Victoria, BC on the Black Ball Ferry Line. Check out the contest page at ripcityradio.com today for complete details and your chances to win. The package includes a one-night stay for two at the Chateau Victoria Hotel and Suites, round-trip fare on the Black Ball Ferry Line, a pair of tickets for the Bouchard Gardens, a pair of tickets to the Skywalk, and a pair of tickets on the double-decker hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour. All right, joining us right now on the Rib City Drive, he covers the Trailblazers for the Oregonian. Aaron J. Fentress on X, and he's back on the show. Aaron, why are you breaking news in Sacramento and not Portland? What's up with that?
Dude, what? I gotta stop going on radio shows, man. I just can't even believe that became a thing.
Oh.
Is that even breaking news? I mean, that's been talked about. I've talked about it on our podcast. I've talked about it other places. Does not everyone know they're trying to trade guys?
Well, I think what happens is, at least the difference is, when you get specific and you name one or two guys and say that you think it's quite possible that one could be moved before the year, you know how this town works, Aaron. They're going to jump on that. Fans are going to go crazy.
Okay, so let me clarify exactly what I said in my segment, okay?
Uh-huh.
All right, what I said was I've heard that the goal is to trade one of them by the end of the season, by the start of the season. But what that, I mean, we already know that Grant's been talked about, right? Like, that's not news. And just because your goal is to make a trade doesn't mean you're going to force one. And so I said also in that segment that there's no place on this roster for those two players, that they have to move them sooner rather than later. And so that it might not happen this summer. Maybe one gets traded at the deadline. Maybe one gets traded by next summer. But that my prediction was that by next summer, both should be gone. But that they would like to move at least one by the start of the season. I don't even think this is almost like, do you remember in 2011 when I broke the news that LaMichael James was going pro? And it became this big giant thing because for some reason a bunch of fools out there actually thought that LaMichael James was going to come back for a fifth year, a fourth year as a starter, and take more free beatings. Do you remember that at all? I don't know if you remember that or not.
I do.
This is like that to me.
I do.
This is like that to me. Like, I didn't even, like, when I broke that, I didn't even think it was that big a deal. It was like, well, of course he's not going to come back and play for free for a fourth straight year. He was just a Heisman candidate, just won a Rose Bowl, or about to win a Rose Bowl. Corona has made it clear. Who are they building around? Scoot and Shaden.
Yes.
Who's better than Scoot and Shaden? Anthony. So if you're committed to building around Scoot and Shaden and you say that, then clearly Anthony's not a part of your future plans because Anthony's not going to stick around and be the backup to two guys he's better than. Plus, he has 2 years remaining on his deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to play and build his value. He's not backing up these two. If they came into the start of the season and he was a backup to one of these two, I predict right now there would be major trouble on that roster, okay? So you've got to turn Ant into something that helps you for when you think that Shaden and Scoot are going to be ready, and you need to free Ant so he can go somewhere and run his own team. And he's already talked about how he's tired of losing. Grant is 30, making $30-something million a year. There's no use for him on this team. He's too good for what your goals are, and that's the tank. So, of course, he's got to be moved as well. So I just have to stop going on radio shows because this happened. I go on a radio show and say something kind of I thought was innocent, and next thing I knew was all over Miami and it was being blown out of proportion. But anyway, that's the situation.
Okay, Aaron. Let's talk about Simons for a moment. What do you think? Now, I know what they might want for Simons, but the question is, what do you think his market value is?
It's interesting. Sometimes it's so difficult to figure out what anyone's market value is when someone like Denny gets 2 first-round picks in Brogdon, right? That was a little confusing to me. But so to me, Ant's better, and he has a nice contract, only 3 years at 44 left or something like that.
Yeah.
So I would think that a team that sees him as their lead guard, as a guy who's going to, they're going to give the ball to and let him run the show. I can't imagine how you can't get at least 2 firsts for him and something else maybe, or maybe you get a player comparable at a different position and then some draft compensation as well. But the question is, if you look at every team in the NBA, there aren't a ton of teams out there that actually have that dramatic need to where they're going to give up a whole lot, I don't think. There's only a handful. So, someone like Orlando, not even just because he he's from there. It seems like it would be perfect. But I think, to me, he would command more than Denny would. I mean, I would think. And if you can get that type of package back, that'd be huge, because I think they gave up a lot for Denny. To me, it's kind of funny that they got 3 first-round picks total in the whole Dame situation, and they just took 2 of them and traded them for Denny, plus Brogdon, who was supposed to be flipped for a first. So in theory, you gave up 3 firsts kind of for Denny. So hopefully they can get back some of that draft capital for Anthony.
I think your theory makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, if your goal is to put yourself in the best possible position to land Cooper Flagg, and I think we all believe that that's exactly what they're going to try and do, well, you don't want Ant out there starting, one, because he is the best player on the team, but also he's going to take minutes away from the 2 guys that you're committed to that need to be on the floor playing together and developing. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Now, you can't – I mean, you can still get – there's 96 minutes at the 2 guard position. So you can, in theory, get everyone 32, right? Mm-hmm. So you can still get enough minutes for guys. But to the major point, the whole winning-losing factor – so here's what's funny to me. Follow me on this. So they traded CJ to clear a runway for Ant, gave in contract, right? They've called Scoot generational. They've called Sharp Booker. They said Ayton was the centerpiece of the things last year they did, and he's a top 5 center. They just praised Denny and gave him a lot of draft capital, like we just said, right? They matched Matisse. They gave Grant that big contract. They talked up Williams. They talked up Klingon. Oh, my God, we got him at 7th, but he was we have top 5 grade on him. And Kamara was the steal of the summer last year as a throw-in. That's 10 guys who've been hyped up, yet the over-under for this team is 21.5 wins, or 22 now. That doesn't match, right? You can't have 10 hyped-up guys and win 22 games in the NBA. Something doesn't fit. And Cronin himself said, we lack talent. Right? So they're on a talent acquisition mode, which means all of those individually hyped people, there's some false hype there, and they want back in this lottery, or they want back in the lottery next year. It's supposed to be the deepest draft since ever. And so in order to do that, you can't have Ant, Grant, and Ayton running out there blossoming. Like Ayton can't be 25-12, and Grant be 20-5, and Ant be 25-5-6. And lose 60 games. Like, it's just not going to happen. So the best way to assure yourself of losing is to get Ant off the roster and sign someone like Devontae Graham, who can't shoot, to back up Scoot, who can't shoot. And now you're in business, right? Now you're out there going, okay, we're going to be clanking up bricks from the perimeter, and that's going to help us lose. Plus, we're going to get torched on defense. And so that's sort of what you have to do. If Ant comes back next year and plays the whole year healthy, and Grant stays healthy, and Ayton plays healthy, I mean, they could win high 20s, low 30s. I think that's realistic, because those guys are talented. So you got to make some roster moves to assure that you're going to lose a lot of games.
That's interesting. I saw them sign Graham, and my first thought was kind of what you were saying, that I think it's easier to get that free agent point guard backup guy before you make a move with Simons, because after you make the move with Simons, everybody knows you need that backup guy, so the price goes up a little bit, But then you told me, you put something out today that I was a little surprised to hear. His contract is not guaranteed? No,
he's a cam guy. Come in, earn the job, earn a roster spot. Yeah.
I'm surprised he signed that.
Well, I don't think he had many other options, because he's so limited in so many different ways. And he's older. He's 29, so he's been around, so everyone sort of knows what he is and what he's about. Yeah. I liken it to when they brought in Chris Dunn. Remember that? When he was kind of like on his last legs, and they brought him in. Or even, what was the other kid from the high-flying dunking guy who couldn't shoot? Oh, my God, what's his name?
Well, they got plenty of those.
Smith.
Greg Brown?
I know. No. He was in the 17 draft, I think. I think he went right before Zach Collins, and he came here for half a season. Oh, my God, I can't remember his name. Anyway, think about it. But that kind of guy, like, he's been around for a while, has some talent, hasn't really blossomed, veteran guy, have him on the roster. But even if you brought Simons back, like, you still need another point guard, unless Delano is going to be your point guard. And you got rid of Brogdon, obviously, because last year when everyone got hurt at the same time, they were playing Skyler, as sort of their veteran guy. So Graham would sort of fill that void if he makes the team.
Interesting. Aaron Fentress, Oregonian here on the Rip City Drive. I mean, it's not just Ant, but, I mean, all of these veterans, Thibault, Robert Williams, Ayton, Grant, Ant, and none of it fits for what they're trying to do.
They're trying to tank for Coop, man. It's all about Coop. And anyone else in that draft. I have not done deep dive research into that draft. I've kind of like stayed away from doing that. But there's other dudes. It's supposed to be 6 or 7 deep in terms of like really high end talent. And you know, you need players, and you need players over 6'6". And there's going to be a lot in the top of that draft. So if you can get one of those studs, that's the way to go. And it's, you know, it's the smart play. I mean, it just really is. But if you're a fan, you're going to be going through a 4th straight season where they're trying to throw games at the end. Well, actually, this season, though, I think will be more blatant than all of them because I think they're going in trying to throw them.
You almost have to, Aaron. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is big enough. Some teams, I have already been told by somebody in the league, some teams start tanking on opening night this year. It's just going to be, you know, you got to get into that bottom 3 because the players there are so good. Not just Cooper, but, you know, there is like 5 or 6 guys at least that are going to be really good players.
Yeah, and so for that reason, you really can't, you know, sort of don't hate the player, hate the game, right? It's just sort of how it is. You have to get talent. The talent's going to be at the top of the draft, and this is the draft to be in as opposed to the one we just had. And if you can land a legitimate, you know, potential all-star caliber forward, then you can't pass that up because what you have right now, I still think like if they remained healthy and they went out there and they really tried, I think they'd have a shot at the play-in as long as Scoot and Shaden especially made some kind of jump. Because I do think that if Aiden played like he did the last 2 months and Ant's healthy and Grant's healthy and you got Williams coming off the bench and Clinton give you some rim protection, right, and then Scoot and Shaden take a lead, like that team I think can win 30-plus, 38, and maybe be in the play-in hunt. But you don't want that if you're the Blazers because what's the point of doing that? You're either losing the play-in or you're smoked in the first round. The true play is to try and get, you know, more talent in this draft, and so you have to manipulate things to make things happen.
Hey, by the way, I think you might enjoy this. Do you want to take a stab at the last time an American-born white player was taken number 1 overall in the NBA draft?
Oh. Was it? Has there been one since Walton?
Yes. Yep. His name is Kent Benson. No, Kent Benson. Larry Bird was actually taken number 6 overall. Kent Benson.
Oh, that's right.
Is the last one.
Benson.
45 years.
Yeah.
45
Indiana,
years.
right?
And the 2 before Kent Benson were both, it was Walton and also Doug Collins.
Wow, I don't even know who Kent Benson is. What did he do?
He was a center, 6'11" center. He's the guy who hit Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with his chin.
Oh.
He hit Kareem right on the fist with his chin.
And then Kareem punched him and broke his wrist and wasn't suspended because he got injured, but he got Kareem to crack.
So he's not the one that hit Kareem in the ribs and he punched him?
No, that's him. That's the situation.
Okay,
yep.
Yeah. He hit him in the that's right. He elbowed him in the ribs, right?
Yeah, in his first NBA game.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That was a joke when I said he hit Kareem in the fist with his jaw.
Yeah.
That means.
Well, yeah, you confused me with the jaw because I was thinking of the you said you hit him with the jaw. I was thinking you hit him in the ribs, but yeah, I got it. I get it now. I'm a little slow. Yeah. I'm on vacation.
So Cooper Flagg is he's gonna break the string. He's gonna break it, man. 45 years in, and Cooper Flagg's gonna be the next one. That's pretty awesome.
That is.
We've got a resurgence, Aaron, of the American-born white guy in the NBA. It's awesome because now Chet Holmgren and now Cooper Flagg, we're seeing a resurgence. I love it.
Chet Holmgren, whom you trashed.
Oh, of course. I thought he was awful. I thought it was a joke of a draft pick, but he's been amazing because he's shown strength for being very lanky. He can defend with his foot speed, which is the most surprising to me at all 3 levels, and he's been a playmaker. So he has helped me to understand that there could be a revival going on.
Well, possibly. So okay, let me ask you guys this, because you do pre and post a lot or often, every night, right?
Yep.
I am I'm looking at 82 games. The last 3 months last year were just dreadful. Like, it was just so bad.
Really?
To go to the arena I just prayed for road trips. I marked off the calendar. I was telling my wife, only 8 more home games left. Only 5 more. Like, I was excited to get this over with. You're sitting there looking at Chauncey. Chauncey doesn't know what to say. The players don't know what to say. It's all just nonsense. It's like football when a team's bad. I covered a bad Seahawks team before. It was 1 game a week, no big deal. This is 3 or 4 games a week of absolute nonsense. And now going into it, we know the goal is going to be to lose. It's going to take a lot for me to get ready for 82 more games of that.
Yeah. In fact, Aaron, when I'd walk by a press row, he'd shake his head like, "What are you doing here, man? You don't need this."
I know. The last month or so, Chad showing up. I'm like, dude, you don't even have to be here. What are you doing? But you're a true diehard, man. You're there to watch your boys.
You were a trooper too, man. You were tough. You showed toughness. I respect it.
No, I wasn't a trooper. I was being paid to be there. It was my job. You didn't have to be there. You were a trooper.
Well, strap in because this last year's got nothing on this year, dog.
Yeah, this year's going to.
But it's okay. But I'm perfectly okay with it because I understand. Like, it's very simple in my mind. Like, you've got Cooper Flagg out there who could just transform everything. I understand it's not a guarantee, but one simple goal in my mind for this year: be one of the bottom 3 teams and give yourself the best chance to land him. That's all I ask for. Is that too much to ask for, Fentress?
Not at all. Not at all. And like you said, like we both said, even if you don't get Cooper Flagg, there's some other dudes in that top 5. So if you land in the top 5, you should come away with a really good player. So let's say you don't get Cooper, but you get someone as good as Boncaro. Hey, everyone's happy, right? I mean, that'd be nice. So yeah, I mean, it just is what it is, but it makes for a long season. It's difficult. It's just difficult to cover a team that doesn't want to win. I was up in Snohomish visiting my oldest son, Isaiah, who just had a child in February, so I'm a grandpa, little Chloe Fentress. And we were joking about how, Shaden's going to go out there and drop 38 one night and upset win over Minnesota, and there's going to be some dudes waiting for him in the back, hired by Tanya Harding. Like, what's up, man? What are you doing? And try to kidnap him or something. Try to let these guys know we're supposed to lose, not win games. And that's just difficult to cover. And it's difficult to coach if you're Chauncey. A lot of people blame Chauncey for a lot of things, but he's going into his 4th season with this franchise where, obviously the first 2 seasons they weren't trying to lose coming in, but 4 seasons where at the end they're trying to tank, and that's difficult if you're a coach.
Aaron, you talk about Shaden Sharp, and I'm curious. Do you feel like you've seen enough games with him to know he's going to be good? How are you feeling about him?
He had a mediocre mediocre season last year statistically, but he had this one stretch where he was insane, like he was going nuts, and then he started having some minor injuries and things blew up, and then he was done for the season. I just feel like when I watch him play, what can't he do? He can score at every level. He's got no fear. He's super aggressive. He needs to, refine his game clearly. I mean, he's super young to even play in college. And he needs to become, increase his basketball IQ, which comes with experience. My goodness, from a sheer just talent standpoint, I see no weakness in his game other than maturity and experience. So I feel like, to me, he's the best talent on the team, even more so than Scoot. It has the best chance to maybe become an all-star. And for me, until I see an all-star on this roster, I can't take anything they're doing seriously, because unless you have an all-star, you can't really become a viable threat to contend.
You're the man. All right, now you can strap in and get ready for game 1 of the Bears season with Caleb Williams. That's awesome.
He's not going to play in the Canton game.
That's good.
They're not going to play. They're not going to play. No, get him out there for a series. What is with these kids these days? Back in my day, they always play. The starters would play most of the first quarter in the Hall of Fame game. Now they don't play at all. It's
who
ridiculous.
cares? You just got your first quarterback since Sid Luckman, man. Don't get him hurt in the Hall
we
of Fame
don't know
game.
yet. You can't say that yet. You don't know. You don't know.
Hey, Aaron,
right.
One question that nobody's dealt with in the media that I've seen, and I know you're the guy to talk to about this. How this season are the Portland Raiders going to be?
We just lost a championship game on Saturday.
Oh, your season's over already?
It's a spring-summer season. We lost 28-23 in a championship game against the Grit City Knights from up in Tacoma. a hard-fought battle, but we committed way too many silly penalties to deserve winning. So 10-1 season, great season, but lost the championship game. So as
Did
the
you
owner,
know the answer to that before you ask him the question, Dwight? Did
No,
you know
I
that?
had no idea. I didn't know that it was a spring-summer season.
No.
I missed that somehow.
But as a team owner, I put the head coach, which is also myself, on the hot seat. So
Oh, good.
you guys can monitor that developing story if you want.
It's amazing. Dude, you're the man, dude. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. We appreciate the time. And dude, next time you're going to break news, don't do it in Sacramento, of all places, man. Come
I
on.
didn't think it was breaking news.
Oh, my gosh. Sacramento.
A lot of other people
Just
thought it was
having a
breaking news.
conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
A lot
Is
of
that
other
right?
people thought it was breaking news.
It's unbelievable to me. Anyway.
How many people hit you up? Did your phone blow up after that interview hit the net?
Not really. I just saw a bunch of people talking about it on Twitter.
Yeah. I like it. I like Aaron Fincher's, ruffling some feathers out
Accidentally
there.
putting out information that he thought was pretty much common knowledge. My bad.
Spectacular. All right, you're the man, dude. We'll talk soon.
All right, later.
There you go, Aaron Fentress. Oh, that's a great song. I love this song. Here's my daily dose of Phil Collins. He said this song at a concert once was about living with someone that actually turns out to be a pain in the ass. From my head down to my toes. This guy sounds good live, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Never seen
I
him.
love the guitar. What is it? Daryl Strimmer, I think, is the guitarist, his name, that's worked with Phil and Genesis for a long time. He does that little picking action in this song, which is delicious. We could just play Phil Collins every day, and that would be a better show.
Yeah, I think we ought to try that.
All right, here comes my favorite part. Oh, that's so good. We need more of this in our life right here. I've never seen Genesis. I saw Phil Collins once, but I never saw Genesis in concert.
Yeah, me either.
All right, high fives. You got any high fives you want to hand out?
I'll come up with some.
All right, I think I've got here it is. You hear that little twing? That's Daryl Strimmer right there. I've got a high five for a listener when we come back.
Oh, good.
Makes me feel like you do. We'll be together to the end. All right, Godfather. Hand out your high five, brother.
All right, goes to 11-month-old Duncan Robinson. I gave him a baseball. We went out and saw the Hops the other day, so I sent him over a baseball today with his grandma, Nancy. And I'm his pop, and he loves that baseball. I got video of him playing with it all over the house.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Well, mine's going to go out to Raider Mike for being patient on the phones. He joins us right now. Raider Mike, happy high five to you. What's up, brother?
Dude, this shit, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Come on, Raider Mike. You are no stranger to radio, all right?
Waited all that time.
Settle
for
down,
that.
Mike.
That's amazing to me.
Can I retract the high five?
Yeah, I think it's probably necessary.
Okay, I retract the high five.
That's the first high five retraction, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I'm going to give mine out to another listener who's not going to drop an S-bomb on the show.
Who's going to get this one?
Rob Sipsky. And Rob is he's a good dude, and he's a big-time listener. He said, the glide theory happened when I slipped off the toilet, hit my head, and that made football possible. He's talking about the flex capacitor from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell's a gigawatt? Very nice, Rob. We appreciate that. Come on, Raider Mike. Step your game up,
That's
dog.
amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
let's see here. Flex capacitor. Ah, so good. Yeah, this is good. All of it's good. Love this. Yeah, let's take a listen to this. This is such a great movie, Godfather. Doc Brown,